Welcome to Wine Zone. I'm Conrad EJBICH, and this is Pro and Con. Today, you are going to witness three wine guys talking about two guys talking wine. My guests are Michael Pinkus and Proulx. These are the two guys who talk wine every fortnight in a podcast on SoundCloud called Two Guys Talking Wine. Welcome to the show, boys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. I think we should have called two fat guys talking wine.
Yeah,
Well, we could have done that.
That was just too long.
Just explain that this is a very, very small couch. It makes you, television always adds weight, right?
50 pounds.
50, 60 pounds. So now, you both already publish in numerous outlets, okay? You have print magazines, commercial websites, your own blogs, and Michael, you also post videos every week. So why did you choose the medium of podcasting? And why together and why not each on your own?
Well, it made sense for us. We're both radio backgrounds, first of all.
Right. Well, let me explain. Okay, so you have your own company called Custom Sound.
Custom Sound Impressions, yeah.
Right.
I've had that for a number of years.
And you do.
But I was in radio for 10 years before that.
Right.
And Andre.
Yes, I'm still currently in radio.
Right. You're a technical producer at News Talk 1010.
That's right.
You used to work with our dear friend, our late friend Rob Ford.
Yes, I did.
You've worked with John Tory.
Yes.
Right. And who are you teching for now?
I'm working with Jim Richards.
Excellent.
Yes.
Fantastic. Exciting.
And so to answer your question, it was just, I've always wanted to do some sort of podcast, but I never wanted to do it alone because, just a single voice can get kind of boring.
I was going to say, a single voice is pretty boring.
And Andre and I just clicked. We at first we thought.
I think we can say like every fortnight we go to the LCBO to taste the wines for the upcoming release, and me and Michael are often the first people in the lab. And I think we realized the conversations that happen in that tasting room. There's something that we thought some people might want to listen to.
I don't know if we should let those conversations out of the tasting room. Isn't the tasting room like Vegas? Anything that goes in, nothing comes out?
Well, I mean, it's interesting. At first, we thought we would agree on too much because we both like Gamay, we both like Cabernet Franc. But, I hate Chardonnay. Andre loves Chardonnay. And that just starts the conversation there. But then there's other things that we totally disagree on.
Yeah. Like Baconard. You like Baconard. You don't like Baconard.
Neither one of us likes Baconard.
I've softened my stance on
You're learning, are you?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, once you're immunized, you'll be okay.
Get a shot.
So your podcast is almost a year old.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've invited a few Ontario wine producers in a sort of a legacy series,
Correct.
the Pioneers.
Yeah.
You've had some producer interviews, including, I think, you're going to tell me about this one here.
Yeah, we did one last night.
And in a number of your episodes, you're just chatting back and forth.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? So are there any areas of interest that you'd like to focus on, or are there any topics that you want to avoid?
I think it's pretty much fair game. It just once again comes down to like the reason why we're talking to what we've called the legacy series is there's some great books and there's some people who have kind of tracked the history of the Ontario wine industry, but it's just getting these long form interviews, and that's really become a passion project of mine, and it's been great to work with Michael and just to sit down with these people. But
who have you interviewed so far?
We've talked to Donald Zeraldo, Paul Boss Sr., and JL Group.
In JL Group.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, those are three certainly pioneers.
We have a list of the others that we want to get. Obviously, Alan Jackson, Donald Triggs,
right.
Len Panichetti.
The players, the people who've made this industry.
Yeah.
Which is, we're really fortunate that most of the people who founded the industry are obviously still around. And it's just, I think for people of my generation, it's finding a way to package the information into a format that's accessible for a younger generation to get these stories on tape.
And those conversations can go one way or the other. Paul Boss Sr. was all about his history, whereas Donald Zeraldo, we thought, okay, we're going to get Donald Zeraldo's history on Enniskillen, and we got everything, I think, but there was very little on the history, and just a lot on thoughts. And
it was still just an interesting conversation.
I understand. I chatted with him recently, and the whole point is, everything that he's done, we all know about what he's done.
Yeah.
It's a question of what's going to be next, right? What's he up to now that we don't see him as often. So who is the audience, and who do you hope the audience to be in the future? Are you podcasting to novices? Are you podcasting to geeks? Are you podcasting to experts?
Well, when we first started, we thought it was just going to be Ontario. We're going to talk Ontario, blah blah blah. But that's such a narrow focus. Even with the Legacy series, we thought that's what we're going to do. But then we got the chances to interview people like Cyril Brun from Charles Heidsieck, Albert Zanato, who we talked to last night, Elizabeth Grant Douglas. I can never remember the middle name.
Right, the winemaker from La Crema, brilliant. Canadian.
Yeah, yep. We just had the chance to interview these people, and we thought, you know what, let's expand that a little bit. But one of the things we like to do is we like to come in a little bit cold, I guess, so that people, novices and experienced people, can understand what's going on. Because we ask them questions that a novice would ask, and then of course we kind of geek out on some of the questions we ask. So I think there's a little bit of something for everybody.
I'm going to make a suggestion to you. One of you guys do some research, and the other guy come in as a novice, and then trade.
Because I think one of us does something.
If you've got no plan, you don't have a direction. You don't have a control over the interview. You just let it go wherever it wants.
Things are planned. I mean, we do talk about ahead of time and lay the groundwork on questions that we're going to ask.
Good.
But I mean, in terms of talking to audience, I mean, we fully recognize that a novice probably doesn't give a crap about crop yields, where we would find that a little more interesting.
Truly, but you can introduce the subject in a way that makes it interesting.
Of course.
Well,
I mean, it's not just talking about what's your crop yield, explaining what's the significance of it,
yes,
or whatever. Right? You guys know what you're doing.
Well, our interview with Cyril Brun was perfect. Andre came in later, but I sat in on the seminar that he gave.
I sat next to you. I remember.
Yeah. So I knew what was going on, and it basically said the interview was basically interviewing him from my point of view, because I had a lot of questions from the seminar, and Andre came in pretty cold. He's like, all right, fill me with knowledge.
Good.
So.
Right. So have you been tracking numbers or reach? Who are you reaching? Is it just going to Ontario, or are you going to Canada? Are you getting people in New Zealand? And
it does seem like it's a pretty strong local audience, but even being a year old, the audience is still growing. I mean, each episode is getting a few hundred listens at this point, but it's been all over the map. It's been hard to figure out which content is going to stick. I mean, our Legacy podcast have picked up a lot of listens, but even taking a look at other ones, like a podcast where me and Michael just talk about recent visits to Prince Edward County, has as many listens as any of the Legacy podcasts. But I mean, there's other episodes that, for whatever reason, people just pick up a little slower, but they're still there to listen to.
And that Prince Edward County one got us a phone call too. So I was.
Was that from a lawyer?
No, from a winery.
Okay, good. Good. It still seems a little bit like geek talk.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, can you have? How do you get a global reach? What do you do to build audience and get a global reach on a show like this and become significant?
Well, there's geeks everywhere. I mean, even if it is just the geeks that we're going to be reaching out to, but the fact that we're geeking out with Italian winemakers and Californian winemakers, it's just going to be about using the social media avenues that are available to us to promote ourselves and to get that reach out. And eventually, people will see that we're not just speaking to Ontario winemakers, Ontario topics. But I mean, it is also a challenge dealing with wine, where it's great that we're talking to the producers, but when we do start talking about issues, when we start talking about legislation and things that really do affect geeks, it's really regional. Even in this country, going from province to province, the issues that affect Ontario, they're similar how they affect someone in Saskatchewan or in BC, but it still works out a little bit differently.
Truly, but if you've got a global audience, then that global producer in France or Czechoslovakia might want to know what the differences are between Ontario and.
Yeah, obviously.
Right. So that's where that part of that comes in. So you spoke last night with Alberto Zanato.
You did, and you said you geeked out with him. I don't think we really geeked out. We had him explain, Valpolicella, the region. We had him, talk about Amarone. We had him talk about Appassimento, which is a style here in Ontario that seems to be.
And you brought this bottle in.
Yeah.
Of from last night's visit. So when am I going to see, or not see, but when am I going to hear the result of this particular interview?
Before we've kind of slated it before the Super Bowl because we kind of got kind of geeky about wings.
I mean, it actually is.
Hashtag
this
dirty
is
wings.
yeah.
Hashtag dirty wings.
Hashtag dirty wings.
Hashtag dirty wings. But I mean, this is a
Website.
bit of a preview to what we're talking about. Is it's just interesting talking to someone from another country about what foods they would serve with the wines.
No, you're
and
right.
when you start
Yeah.
talking about what a Canadian would serve with the wines, it's just interesting to see how things can be a little bit different.
Of course.
And
of course.
we're recording this Grey Cup weekend, so I got on the topic of chicken wings and just couldn't let it drop.
Yeah, it just went through the whole interview.
And so, did he agree that chicken wings are good with this wine?
Well,
don't think
chicken
it was
wings
this one we were talking about.
isn't really his thing. Like he was like, at one point, Andre talked about the chicken wings, the sauce he'd use, and everything, and he looked at me and he went, "You know, what is this guy talking about?
Right.
Just doesn't get it." You know, he was talking about simple dishes like chicken that he roasts with olive oil and potatoes, and just lightly herbed and stuff. That's just such simple cuisine. And Andre's throwing ketchup and Worcestershire sauce and all kinds of things.
That's nice. That's a little bit of sriracha on the side.
Just throwing stuff around, and he's like, "I don't get it."
There's nothing wrong with a good chicken wing.
There's nothing wrong, but it's just
Wrong with a good chicken wing.
But Alberto just wasn't about the chicken wing.
So be specific. What date will I be able to hear this show? You said before the Super Bowl?
We'll say mid-January.
Yeah.
It'll be probably the second Tuesday. The second
right, 'cause you're
release in
releasing
January.
every second Tuesday. You're
Yes.
releasing on Tuesday.
Tuesdays
What
when
time?
it releases.
What time?
9 in the morning.
Yeah.
9 in the morning.
About
9 in the morning on Tuesday. You can listen to on SoundCloud.
Yep.
And I'm
Subscribe
going
on
to
iTunes as well.
Subscribe on iTunes. We have a Facebook page called Two
Okay.
Guys Talking Wine.
Okay, we'll talk afterwards. We'll put all that information in the credits so people will be able to get it all.
Yeah.
Is it gonna go like here?
It'll be in front of your face.
There we go.
Yeah.
Credits
Right
will be
here.
across your face.
There. It'll be up here.
The subscribe button.
Please subscribe right here.
No, the subscribe button.
Oh, subscribe right there.
Right over here are the two guys talking wine. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having
It's
us.
been real fun. It's been real fun. Thanks. So my guests have been Michael Pinkus, this one, and Andre Proulx, that one. Wait for the credits. You'll see everything about their podcast. Tune into it. It's fun. It's interesting. It's about wine. It's geeky, and it's for everybody. Join me again soon. We'll have more interesting conversations with wine people right here on Pro and Con. Thanks. See you again. Bye.